What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 21 of Procedurally Generated. It is April 6th, 2021, and we're doing it.
We are.
Yep. I was half expecting you to yell 21 again.
No, I'm not. No.
You didn't, and I was like, oh,
no,
shoot,
I'm not
I had
going to
no
be rude
backup
like that. Why would I do something like that, Chris?
That's a good point. That's completely
who, like me, being an upstanding co-host, would never yell the year while you're trying to announce the date.
That's true. It's completely unfounded. I don't know where that came from. No. I'm sorry. I owe you an apology.
I will not interrupt you at all today, ever.
All right.
Especially during break transitions and when we're coming back from breaks or when you're announcing anything about the episode.
Perfect. A perfect show incoming. You guys ready for this? That's not going to be perfect. I never said I wouldn't interrupt him, so.
I can edit it in any way I want, Chris.
That's true. Remember, I'm not even on this show, am I?
It's too much work.
Yeah. So. All right, guys, welcome in. We are doing episode 21. We've got
21
on tap for you. Oh, see, God, ugh. No. But yeah, we're gonna kind of roll right into things. John, it's been a week.
It has.
What kind of haberdashery you been getting up to?
Let's see here. It's been a lot of Monster Hunter. I've been slowly working my way through the single player mode, which doesn't have an ending quite yet, which is a little bit odd. Apparently that's coming in a later patch. Yeah. I'm chalking it up to just like development issues during COVID.
Well, so is this separate? Because I saw your tweet from a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Were you weren't necessarily disappointed with the end of the game. You were disappointed that there wasn't an ending to the game?
So every Monster Hunter kind of has like a mid-game ending, and that's what I hit. And I was not thinking correctly. So I got to I think the end of the 4-star quest in the story mode, and you go up to 6, I think, currently. But when you finish like the 4-star quest, you fight the main monster of the game, Magnamallow, and then everyone kind of like gets back to the town and are like, well, we did it. We're all better people now, and we're gonna go on living our lives. And then it's just the credits. And I don't think it built up that moment very well.
What's the big monster's name again?
Magnamallow.
Magnamallow.
Yeah, it's like a big demon dog. He's just like hellfire.
Nothing to do with marshmallows.
No, it is not. It's not a mallow.
That's
in any way. No, he's not soft. He's pretty hard. Actually, yeah? He's pretty tough. Okay. He will roast you. Actually, he's not. Ooh. He's not going to get burned. But finish that, and then actually once you start rising through 6-star or 5-star and 6-star, they give you more of these license quests that give you a boost to your hunter rank, which is your multiplayer hunting level. That gives you access to better quests in the multiplayer mode in the hub, and there is some more story kind of playing out there, oddly enough. So they just introduced like this giant monster that like is twisting through the sky. I have no idea what it is yet. I just saw it last night, but so yeah, I guess getting into the high rank fights is the actual like getting to the end of the game.
Okay.
It's very weird that like the single player mode doesn't have that definitive of an ending or like that definitive of a final boss as like something that they just introduced in the multiplayer mode. So I think that could be kind of confusing for people going in. Monster Hunter World had that bigger boss as well, but they had it in the single player mode. So
is this like a are people like accepting that as a reality, or is there some?
It's fine. It's fine.
If you tell me like the rest of the game, the end of the game will come in a future patch, and I think about any game ever, I feel like that would be like the thing that's trending on Twitter. Like this is a catastrophe. This is a disaster. The latest God of War does not have an ending. It's coming in a later patch. Like people would lose their mind, but people are okay with this.
Yeah, I guess. Like I don't know if this I know this like new monster that they introduced in the hub is in the game, and you can fight it, and I think that has its own ending, but I guess there's another ending that they're adding later on. So
okay.
I don't know. Like, I feel like if that bigger monster wasn't there in the hub, people would probably be making a bigger deal about it. But
Okay.
Monster Hunter also always has like a year of free updates, so the game is never exactly finished until
so they've established this as kind of an expectation.
This is the usual.
Forward. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
So people aren't really concerned as long as there's monsters there to fight and they get progressively harder and you can get more gear from them. Monster Hunter players usually don't care. Okay. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Been playing some of that. I played about an hour and a half of Outriders on stream last week on I think the day it released, but Outriders is it's a looter shooter in the vein of kind of like a Destiny mixed with Gears of War. Like there's cover based stuff, but you also have different classes that you could choose that have different powers. I chose a class called the Trickster, and the Trickster is all about well, I've only unlocked a couple powers, but like my big like push both triggers thing is like this big time bubble that slows down all enemy and projectile movement within it. So if I have like a bunch of dudes shooting at me, I can pop that. It puts out this giant bubble, and you can see like the bullets like slowing down in midair, so you can like walk around them and dodge whatever's happening. But also, I have another move that is like this big psychic sword that I can just slash out, and any enemies that get hit with it like disintegrate into their bones and then explode. And if you do that within the time bubble, they do that really slowly, and it's really awesome.
So I was in somebody's chat who was playing that on Twitch, and somebody asked about. Actually, it was Game Informer. Dan Tack was playing it.
Oh, sure.
And they asked about this attack that makes the enemy's bones explode.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what that is?
That's it. Yep. Right. Well, also like cool. there's a gun that you get in like the prologue. It's like a character dies, you pick it up off his body, but it's a gun that makes people's bones explode.
Okay.
Which will do a similar thing, but yeah, that game starts off just like super bland, super boring. Not a lot of character. Like I feel like the acting is really good from like the main character and some of the side characters, but man, just like the premise is like Earth has died essentially, and you're part of an expedition to find another planet. You are like 83 years in the future, and you find a planet called Enoch, and your people are trying to inhabit it. So you land, you're kind of clearing out land and exploring a little bit. Things go wrong. You are like a lot of people get iced, not in the cryogenic way, but you end up being put into like a cryogenic state again for like 20 something years, and you come out and everything is like your people have definitely inhabited the world, but also it's like Mad Max. Also you have superpowers, so you're kind of like learning about your powers and learning about like where some of the people are that you had met 20 some odd years earlier. And establishing what you are and what your place is with these people.
Is the demo that released, is that 1-to-1 the opening of the game?
I don't know. I never played the demo.
You never played the demo?
I think it is.
If that's the case, then you're right. Maybe it is. We talked a little bit before this about this before we started recording, and I was after seeing some of the things other people play it, I was more of the thought of like, I don't think it's for me. I thought there were a lot of I was getting Division vibes in terms of like bullet sponge enemies.
Yep.
And I lose interest pumping hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bullets into enemies. Same thing with Monster Hunter. Kind of the reason I can't do that.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, I think I dig this situation. I dig the scenario. I dig the world. Maybe that'll be enough to push through, because it seems like this is a very conflicted game for a lot of people. Like you got people that are very much for it and very much against it. And doesn't seem to be a lot of middle of the road people.
Yeah. It's either people are turned off by like the first 20 minutes or so. And like how dull and like pretty it looks like any other like Western third person shooter. All the characters just look like they don't have any good character to them, or like the art style just doesn't look great. Until you get into like the future stuff, then things start to gel a little bit more. Things start to look a little bit more interesting because you're dealing with more supernaturally things than some dude who's wearing like a trench coat and has a big mustache and a cowboy hat, and he's just like a rough and tumble badass dude, or supposed to be badass dude. But it's like, yeah, he looks like something out of like Bulletstorm, sure. Like, yeah,
and you say Bulletstorm, obviously, same developers.
Bulletstorm. Yep.
So okay.
But I've heard like crafting's good. I've heard people say that they like the crafting in the game. I really haven't given it that much of a shot, like outside of the first like mission after you get unfrozen. But like having those powers was fun, and I like making dudes explode in time bubbles, and I think that will probably hold me for a little bit at least, and see what other powers I might gain. I know there's like big talent trees and stuff to go down, and there's like 4 or 5 different classes, so there's a lot to check out. It also does like the Diablo 3 thing where you have like 15 different levels of difficulty, and as you keep playing it like boosts you up to different difficulty levels, and if like you can't take it, then you can like bump yourself back down. But I was talking to Demetrius about that when he was streaming it, and he was at like world tier 8 or something. I'm like, oh, you were just at 7. Like, did you switch that yourself? He's like, no, it just kind of does it as you go, and if you can't take it, just fix it for yourself. But it gives you like greater rewards as you go on and as you go up that ladder. I like that difficulty system. Like you can kind of tailor it to yourself if you want to.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was, and that's more clarity on that too is helpful, because I was watching him play as well, and he was doing a boss fight against somebody, and I was just like, this looks so rough. Like the amount of shots you get off, and then you're being swarmed by ads, and then you're running, you're taking 2 shots, and his health bar just isn't moving, and I'm like, this isn't what I want from a game. But if that's, I'm not trying to kill myself with video games in terms of difficulty, so if I can knock that down, maybe that's a difference.
So like level 1 or level 0 or whatever they call it is like story mode.
That's like the name of it.
About. Yeah. So
give me story
like
mode.
You could crank it way down if you want, but
okay.
If you want the difficulty, if you want the better gear, you can crank it. You can put it back up.
Okay.
And I will say like a difference that I've noticed between like this and like a Monster Hunter, having played both recently, when you do bring up like bullet spongy things, the difference between like a Destiny or an Outriders and a Monster Hunter is like Monster Hunter, as you're fighting an enemy, or when you're fighting one of the bigger monsters, you're constantly like breaking chunks off that monster and doing like actual damage to it, and making like a concerted effort to target certain places on the monster. So like you are doing like noticeable things to that monster or to that enemy, whereas you don't really see it as much in like the Division or Destiny. It helps that bullet sponge feeling quite a bit, I think. Where you feel like you're gaining traction against.
It's like little like rewards as you go. Like I think Assassin's Creed was always really guilty of that too, where there's no difference between this enemy and this enemy, other than this enemy has they're level 11 as opposed to level 5, and their health bar goes down slower. Like that's the stuff that I can't stand. It's, but yeah, no, that is a good damage sponge. Does mean different things between
and like
Division and
all those games have like huge health bars, and you do fight things for quite a while. Like that was something with the original Destiny and Destiny 2. You'd come up against like this giant dude with a huge machine gun or like laser gun or something like that. You could throw everything you have at them for like 10-15 minutes, and like nothing actually changes with them. I feel like that needs to be implemented more in games as a service games, or like anything that's doing those big MMO raid type fights.
Right.
I feel like there's a lot of games that could learn from what Monster Hunter's doing and has been doing for close to 20 years now, 15 years, whenever that first one came out. But yeah, I don't know. Super into Monster Hunter right now, though.
Perfect.
That's,
you're not alone.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm glad it seems to be selling well. Like 5 million copies or something.
Are you the one that told me that it outsold Animal Crossing?
In its first weekend, yes.
That's
at least in Japan. I don't know about the rest of the world, but like it's doing super well.
That's nuts.
It's a big game. Game. Yeah.
Cool.
That's about it. I did play 2 of the games that we were going to be talking about today. One of which that I finished. So
I assume I know which one that is.
Yeah. I think you know. It's not the one that we were talking about before that you also purchased.
No, that one seems like it's
not that one.
Got some girth.
Yeah. But yeah, that's really it. Other than that, I was on the Game Informer Super Replay for Bloodborne on Friday. It was a lot of fun.
Fantastic.
So thanks to Andrew Reiner for inviting me on, and yeah, I had a lot of fun. Hopefully they invite me back at some point. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
to continue that. But
you did Procedurally Generated proud.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, thanks for bringing everyone in.
Yeah.
I saw everyone in there. I didn't want to start talking about everyone in there.
No, you did. You did great. I was excited that the timing matched up as perfectly as it did. I had to call my stream early on Friday for my first COVID shot, so I got my first COVID shot.
Oh, good.
And that timing of when I needed to call off the stream to when you started recording Super Replay was perfect, so we could take the community over and show a little support for our boy John. So,
yeah,
like you said, he crushed it. So maybe. Could we put the episode 4 show notes if people want to check that out that have listened that might not have been able to be there live?
Sure. I could put that in there.
Throw episode 4 in there for Bloodborne.
Yeah.
You can see John do his thing.
It's okay. Yeah. So you got your first shot on Friday.
I did.
How's your arm? How's that going?
It's good. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I actually felt a little bit of sickness the following day while I was playing tennis, which was not great.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure exertion.
Yeah. So I was feeling a little queasy for about half the drill. I was fine in the morning, or fine right away when I started.
Yeah.
Real crappy for about an hour. And then the last half hour, I felt like I was ready to go. Like it was just the weirdest hour of just feeling like garbage. It all passed. And then I was just like brand new. So
good. Hey, yeah, I got my first shot yesterday. Drove an hour to get it. So we ended up coming back and grabbing lunch with my parents, and like that was like an hour back, and then like so an hour after the shot, I started feeling like super tired, which sucks because we were at a restaurant and like I can't just like lay down or anything. Yeah. Like I have to like talk to people and have lunch. But then I kind of started feeling fine after that. And then we got home, and I want to say from like 2 until like 7, I felt like crap. Yeah. Like super, just like my body felt like it was being bogged down. It's kind of irritable. It's not great. My arm started feeling pretty sore. It's still sore today.
Oh, really?
So I wonder how that second shot's gonna go.
Yeah.
The guy who administered it was saying like he felt like he was trying to rip off his arm, like on the second shot, like it was getting super bad for him. So,
oh god, yeah, arm soreness. I barely had anything.
Yeah, and I think we have different vaccinations.
Yeah, I
had the Moderna. Okay. Yeah, you had the Pfizer. Yep. So I think those are gonna just act different.
Yeah.
In general. So, yeah, but we'll get through it. Right. It's worth it.
It's what's the alternative. So yeah. I will gladly go through a little bit of suffering to make sure that I am vaccinated.
I mean, the worst part is driving an hour.
Yeah. Did you end up going to St. Cloud? Is that?
Yeah, I went to St. Cloud. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I'll take the day off of work. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, any excuse to take the day off, to take some PTO, I'll do it. It's really hard to find excuses to take PTO these days. So, yeah. Otherwise, I just wanted to see how your experience was with that. Compare notes.
Yeah.
On the vaccinations. Did you post about it? Because it doesn't exist if you didn't do that. It didn't happen unless you like posted on social media.
Oh yeah.
It.
Yep. Kate and I, we actually had our appointment at the exact same time, so we both got it done. Tandem vaccination. So,
nice.
And we got our second shot at the same time too.
Oh, cool. Great. Yeah. 3 weeks for you?
3 weeks. So 2 weeks from Friday.
Cool. So cool. Month for me.
Yeah. Looking forward to having that behind us for sure.
Yeah.
But
same.
Anything else for you, John?
No. What have you been up to besides that? That's
it? Just doing the thing.
Persona
5 Royal still going strong. We crossed the 140 hour mark today. So
are you gonna finish that by the time Shin Megami Tensei 3 comes out?
I had better. Yeah, I had better.
Is that May 25th?
Something like that. Yeah. I hope to have Persona 5 done by, I want to say this week, but I think that's blasphemy. I don't think there's any way.
We'll see.
I think it'll end up being
do some long streams.
Well, no, because now I've got another game that I've got to very much focus on. That I've started. Well, I started it last week. We were talking about it last week, but I'm still playing Disco Elysium Final Cut. Had some internet issues yesterday, which unfortunately cut my PlayStation short with that game.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I ended up having to cut the stream early. I still waiting on Comcast to fix my stuff, but I got a healthy little credit back, basically a free month and a half of internet. So that's
excellent.
I mean, that makes that part feel better, but I still want to be able to get through a stream confidently without dropping all my frames. So they know the issue. I guess they're apparently waiting for a permit with the city to dig and do what they need to do to repair the issue. So just a matter of time. Sounds like it'd be done in a couple weeks, but I think last time we had this issue, I was told it'd be done by that weekend. That was 5 weeks ago. So we'll see. But yeah, so those are the 2 games that I'm focusing in on. We had something pretty cool happen for Disco last Wednesday, I think. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. Things got very exciting, but I was featured
the day it came out officially, so I think it was Tuesday.
It must have been Tuesday. Yeah, you're right. Because it was video from the day before, but I was featured in a kind of a hype video from Dead Good Media, who is the publisher for Disco Elysium Final Cut. And it was awesome. Like it was completely unexpected out of nowhere. I shut the stream down and checked my Twitter, and I had like 30 notifications. And I'm like, well, hold on, this never happens. What's going on? And yeah, they cut a video together. It had me and 8 other streamers, one of which is the streamer that I basically idolize in terms of streaming. He's the reason I started streaming, Co-Carnage. So I was featured in the same video as him playing Disco Elysium.
So cool.
Yeah.
You were the first thing on there too. Like you led that video off.
It even started before my video started. It started with like my voiceover and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I got like awesome. Butterflies. I think I had tears in my eyes as I was like watching it. Cause I was like this. And then when I saw Co pop up, I'm like, this doesn't happen. Like,
I'm sure that's some sort of validation. Like,
oh God. Yeah. It just felt great. And like, in terms of like return on like followers on Twitter, followers on Twitch, all that stuff, there wasn't a lot there, but it's the fact is like it showed me that the way I do things matters to my community, matters to the people that are in my stream, but just as importantly, it matters to publishers, it matters to game developers. And that means more to me. I want to make sure that if I do this the right way, and I make sure like people are properly represented and taken care of. And I mean, I was by far the smallest streamer on that. In fact, I have 10. I think the next smallest streamer has 10 times the followers that I have. They're partnered streamers. Everybody was partnered, so it's it felt. I think you said it perfectly. Validation. Being a smaller streamer, like, is this something that is? Am I doing this the right way? You know, just all those questions that you have as a streamer getting started. The confidence boost was just, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It maybe also justified the cosplay that I was doing for it too, which I'm still doing to this day. So we're still dressing up like Harry. We're
still got all the facial hair. I'm seeing it now. It's the facial hair is actually getting better every day because Harry has a little bit more of a
it's outgrowth.
Uncouth. Yeah, it's
it's as it gets longer, it
like
fits
juts out a bit at the end. And I was seeing that a little bit more today. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I put a little beard oil in, and I was like, instead of going down with it, we're gonna go out with it. And it was like, oh, that's Harry.
Absolutely.
So, but that's what I've been focusing on.
That's awesome.
Also, in our personal life, we are trying to put a treadmill together
right now as we speak.
As we speak. That's the reason we were recording just a little bit late, because I was like, I'm feeling it. We're going to get this. We're going to do this. I think I've exerted more energy putting this treadmill together than I'll ever exert while using it in its proper facilities. But
hey, at least you're getting something from it.
That's true. My wife's been wanting one for a long time, and
they're good.
Yeah,
they're nice to have.
That's just it.
Might I suggest that you put your Switch up on it and you just play some Monster Hunter while you're walking?
Yeah, I mean, we've got it facing the TV. I'll throw something on.
Sure.
It's going to be just so much better than I haven't been to the gym in months and months and months for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I don't really want to. Gyms are expensive anyways, and
they're going to get crowded pretty quick, I'm sure too.
Oh God, yeah. You thought like when they open up fully and let everybody back in and everybody's vaccinated, New Year's Day, you think that's bad? This place is going to be a nightmare for months. So
you do have like a few, like probably a couple months before that happens though. So you'd always get in now.
It's true. Well, I'm not fully vaccinated.
Or get in. Either. Get in 5 weeks.
I was going to the gym, but everybody there never wore masks ever.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're I'm not out in the country. Anymore. Who does?
Yeah, it's just it's not worth it. So, but yeah, that's kind of what we got going on.
Cool.
Yeah, good times.
I like treadmills.
Yeah, I like the idea. In like
great.
In application, it's a love-hate. Very much. It's like 90 hate, 10 love. Yeah. So,
but that 10%, it's worth it.
That's right.
Also, if your wife loves it, also worth it.
Anything for her. I don't even have to use the damn thing, really. I mean, let's be honest. It's not for me. No. But I will. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, if you guys have enjoyed the back and forth so far, or you enjoyed our first 20 episodes, that's right, folks. We're on episode 21. We've done this going on 21 times. Then by all means, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Follow our social medias. Follow us on Twitch. Shoot us an email at pgshowinbox@gmail.com if you'd like to participate in the show. Our Twitter is pgshow. I'm CW719. John is John Carson. No, you're John _Carson on Twitter.
That's correct. Yes.
We'd love to hear from you.
I messed up when I was doing the Game Informer thing, where Reiner's like, "Oh yeah, well, like, where's your stream at?" I'm like, at John Carson. No, like I forgot the games part. Like, oh shoot, that's
no, nobody's gonna get there.
Just like the first like 2 minutes of the show. Man, boy.
So let that be a lesson to anybody just getting started as a streamer. Try to get all of your stuff the same across the board, so you don't have to distinguish between the two.
It's true. I just don't like making people put underscores in everything. I feel like underscores are annoying, but I had to for Twitter.
Well, and it's,
there's a few John Carsons out there.
Yeah, coming from two people who tote very famous names. It's a struggle that we have to deal with.
It's real.
But yeah, if you guys have also enjoyed the show, please check out our Patreon, patreon.com/procedurally generated. And if you like it, just a bit more than a little, throw us a couple bucks. We'd be happy to continue to do some new things with this show. We have a blast doing it, but we have some ideas. We have some things we'd love to do. So that would mean the world to us. If you look below, our Discord will be linked down below. We can talk about another way to reach out to us and talk about the games with the community as well. And then also check out our YouTube linked below as well. John,
Chris,
should we get started with game one?
Sure.
I already forgot what we decided at the very beginning. we talked about what game one should be. I remember. Okay, I remember.
Yeah. It's the new one.
Yeah. Well, just to be sure we're on the same page, John, why don't you lead us off with game number one?
Yes. So our first game this week is a PlayStation fighting game. Released in 1996 in Japan, 1997 in English territories. This is developed by Daftco Limited and published by THQ, the toy headquarters themselves. This is K-1 The Arena Fighters.
It sure is.
Yeah. So K-1 is a company that that promotes kickboxing fighting. It's kind of like the UFC for or a fighting league for kickboxing. And this is a licensed video game based upon that league. I think this. So Daftco had 3 different versions of this game. Is that correct? 3 or 4?
They had, well, I mean, when you say versions, do you mean?
I mean iterations. So, geez, that's the same word. I mean, it had a few sequels, but this was the first in the series.
Okay, I guess I didn't realize that they were a series. I just know that they were released with different names in different territories.
Yes, they're like in Japan. This one was Fighting Illusion K-1 Grand Prix, and then in North America and Europe, it was K-1 The Arena Fighters, and I think elsewhere. Let me take a quick look here. Yeah, because there's like K-1 Revenge. Let's see. Why am I going backwards here?
Yeah, I guess if they're directly tied like one game to the other, I didn't know that. I just assumed that it was the K-1 branding coming through as a license.
As you could tell, this is a very easy game to cover for us. K-1 The Arena Fighters, K-1 Revenge, K-1 Grand Prix were all different games in this series. I'm just double checking K-1 Revenge and K-1 Grand Prix. They have different amounts of fighters. So they were actual sequels. Like K-1 Grand Prix has 32 K-1 fighters in it.
Oh wow.
K-1 Revenge has 14 and 4 K-1 fighters and 4 unlockable fighters. This game has 8, including a bunch of names that I've never heard of before.
Yeah, I do not know anything about K-1.
No, I don't either. I was trying to see like what if there was any like mixed lineage with like modern MMA, and I'm sure there is, but I didn't look too deep into some of the fighters' names. But there's let me pull up the
cover guy has a 6 dash.
I mean, yeah, he does. It's like half of like a state trooper stash. It's not thick enough, I don't think, but I'm sure
it's the stash of a man I wouldn't mess with.
It's most stashes for me.
Yeah. He knew what he was doing.
Fighters in this game include Andy Hug, who is the man with the 6 dash.
Yes.
Ernesto Hoost, Jerome Labanner, Musashi, Peter Ertz, and Ray Sefo. That is the list that I have in front of me. I know I'm missing a couple here.
I think it's funny that the scariest man, his last name is Hug.
Yeah. Well, once he hugs you, you die.
To death. He's
going to put his knees into your chest. Put your nose down your throat.
How do you feel about mixed martial arts as somebody who's a wrestling fan? Is there any crossover there?
So I was really put off by it, actually, because I because of my pro wrestling fandom, I liked splashier, fancier moves. Mm-hmm. And so like I would get really bored when fights came down to like ground and pound. I just felt like all the action like really slowed down. I know there's a lot of like technical stuff that's happening. Like people are trying to like wriggle themselves free or like shift their weight in certain ways. But I'm used to like choke slams and
power drivers,
avalanche hurricanranas, and putting people through tables. I prefer the striking in MMA a lot more than the actual like wrestling and judo parts of it.
Yeah. More kickboxing, less jujitsu.
yeah, over the years I've learned to like it more, but I'm not like a huge MMA fan. I'll watch it and I'll enjoy it. I really like those fights that are like dude runs up and just wins out of nowhere with just a running knee, like a flying knee. Like that's super cool that people could still pull that off and get away with it. Like when Rousey was fighting, like I feel like that was when I was most into it. I think a lot of people were super into it at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never really like ordered pay-per-views or anything. But I was also really into the Fight Night games on like 360.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So like also once again boxing, it's more striking than anything. I was just more attuned to that kind of fighting than everything else that happens in MMA and UFC and Bellator and Pride, all those different leagues. So yeah. And you said you're not really a huge fan.
Not really. Like, I'm not going to sit down and watch a fight. For whatever reason, like my Facebook video feed seems to get just bogged down with different knockouts from UFC and stuff like that.
You gotta stop clicking on them.
I guess. Actually, I deleted my Facebook. I did it like 2 days ago.
I mean, that's one way to get rid of it.
Yeah, no more UFC. I'm deleting Facebook. I did that.
Can't you looking at UFC on my Facebook? Stop sending me links. I'll watch them.
It won't be an issue anymore. But man, it just like one day it's like, and then of course I'm like, well, this dude is getting knocked out. I gotta see. And then it just that's all it ever was. And then it was like
what did Conor McGregor do?
Fights, and I'm just like, we're done. All right, we're done. We're getting down a dark hole.
Bum fights. Yeah.
But no, I as much as I'm not necessarily a big fan of real life violence. I can disassociate myself from like video game violence and things like that. But when it's real life violence, like I found as I get older, I find myself more turned off to that kind of stuff. Like
sure.
A lot of respect for two guys that can go into the cage and beat the hell out of each other. I don't have that in me. Like there's no. I couldn't do it. Even for the cash prizes these guys fight for. I just there's a disconnect between me and anybody that could do that, and I think it also comes through.
Why would you?
I don't know. I just kind of want to look away when things get a little aggressive.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's hard to look at it first.
Yeah. So. A couple other interesting nuggets about the game. We mentioned that it released on PlayStation. This was a PlayStation exclusive. It didn't come out on any other consoles. However, it was announced for Sega Saturn. It just never saw the light of day.
Yeah.
The game itself comes with. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say. I should say it is a 3D fighter, so it kind of looks something like a Tekken. Sure, it doesn't look like it plays much like a Tekken.
No.
They were going for a more realistic bent on it. So there's like a health gauge. There's a stamina gauge as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the moves that you're doing will take down this blue stamina gauge. So your character does tire after a while. It looks like if you get knocked down 3 times, you lose the match, or you win it if you knock down your opponent 3 times. If anybody was interested in how matches actually played out. Each character does have a different move set. Everyone does have different styles. It's not like just because it's kickboxing, everyone is doing the same stuff. So they tried to model the moves in the game after the real people. I don't have any real deep insight onto how they're different though.
Yeah,
I
watched some gameplay of I think a fight or two, and Mr. Hug, as I'll call him, because it makes me happy. He had one move that I don't know if this is just a norm, but it was kind of like a flailing, like it almost looked like a flailing, like open-handed slap. They did it a couple times, and I was like, I guess if that's what that's what works. But it looked really weird and out of place in the game. But I think critics were they applauded the realism, but the application of it, the delay and like button presses to moves happening, like it was just it didn't come together quite right.
Yeah.
is kind of the consensus. The game features 4 different modes. There's single player. There's a 2-player versus mode. There's a tournament mode with all 8 fighters involved in the tournament. And then there's this team battle mode where 2 teams made up of 3 fighters. Those 3 fighters, they fight 1-on-1, and the first team basically to get 2 wins is the team that wins the team battle. So a very basic stuff happening. Nothing too crazy in terms of game modes. Pretty straightforward.
Definitely is a first iteration on a fighting game. That's based on a real world property. I can't talk today. I've only been drinking coffee, and words just aren't coming out right today.
That'll happen.
Tuesdays.
Do you have anything else specific to the gameplay? I guess one thing you had mentioned the health bar, you mentioned the stamina bar. It did look like your character took a lot more
damage.
Take more damage if their stamina was low.
Yeah, I don't have anything to really confirm that, but yeah, I also noticed the same thing. So maybe we should get our hands on a copy of K-1, the Arena Fighters.
Yeah, normally I'd tell you how to
duke it out.
I think I saw a version on eBay for like $4.99 for a disc version, but
$499,
$4.99.
Wow.
Yes, that don't spend $500 on this game. Or do you live your life? But
as a side note, speaking of buying things from resellers, over Easter I was talking with my brother-in-law, and he was talking about just like old games and wanting to play stuff, and we were talking about Godzilla vs. Kong, which came out last week. And he was like, man, I just kind of want to play that original Godzilla game for the 360. And he started looking online, and he could only find it on eBay for $60 used. And I'm like, well, it does have an easy 1,000 gamer points. Like, I could see how that could be like a collector's item. We were both just kind of baffled. Like, that game of all games, like even like caseless, just the disc in like a red box disc case, was like $50, $60. And he got it home, and my sister texted my wife saying that Jason had that already. He already had the game, so just have to blow $60 on it to play it. So yeah, just weird.
It's the way of the future as all of our digital storefronts get taken down.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, that's a story for another day.
It is. We've been putting that off for like 3 weeks now, but
we have, yeah.
It's not happening this week either.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do a rip podcast to the PlayStation.
Well, we'll
stuff.
We'll just talk about every game that we've purchased on the PlayStation Store for the PSP, Vita, and PlayStation 3.
I like it. I think we're onto something. That's all I've got really for gameplay as it relates to K-1, the Arena Fighters known as K-1 Grand Prix in Japan. Development credits for Daft. 3 of their 5 games were licensed K-1 games, which it sounds like after what you've talked about, they were actually linked directly to one another.
Yes.
There was one other fighting game without the K-1 branding. What was it, like Ultimate World Fighter or something to that effect?
Yeah, it's like World Fight. Let me look. World Fighting.
Oh, just World Fighting?
Yeah. It's a 3D versus fighting game offering several different fighting styles from around the world. So it was kind of MMA. It was kind of like early UFC-ish stuff, like taking karate, boxing.
And that was their last jiu-jitsu game too. So I wonder if they maybe lost the K-1 license at some point.
That very well could be.
They just couldn't.
Or someone picked them up for another, for another franchise altogether.
Yeah,
it seems like it's nondescript fighting league. So
okay. But so they released 5 games. The last 4 were fighting games. The first game that they released though was something pretty different. It looked like maybe a 2D side scroll game with maybe some puzzle elements.
Yeah.
But bright, colorful, very whimsical looking. It's called Hamel no Violin Hiki. I don't know too much about it, but it was a tremendous change of direction from their first game to their last 4 games that they developed.
You play as a character named Hamill, whose weapon is a violin. So that all lines up with the name.
Eternal Sonata? Anybody?
Yes, it's Eternal Sonata. You are Chopin on your deathbed, and you're dreaming a JRPG.
God, I'm so glad you know that. This is why I podcast with you.
Yeah.
Oh man,
what a weird game.
Yeah.
Eternal Sonata.
I might have to go back and play that one. That's going on the list.
I think we should put it on the list.
Oh my god.
And then you're gonna get like 30 minutes, and you're like,
oh wait, yeah, no, I don't want to play this.
This game is only okay.
Well, cool. Is you have anything else on K-1?
Not really. There's not much with the company now. Like you said, World Fighters was kind of like their last thing. They do have a website, at least like Moby has a website linked, but it's whatever Daftco Limited is now. It just seems like it's an app developer, and it was like reestablished in 2019. So
okay,
I have no idea on what might have happened to the previous iteration of that company, or if it just kind of like got absorbed by something and spun off again, or I could not find very much information on Daftco that much. So, Chris, break time, you think?
Let's take a break.
Cool. See you in a bit.
Bye. Hello. We're back.
Hi.
That was a face of agony. Everything all right over there?
Just life.
Yeah. Oof. We were just talking about posture. Was your posture bothering you there?
No, I mean, it should be. It probably is.
Yeah.
It's killing me slowly.
Nothing like coming back from a break with just the pure grimace of...
No, I just love now making faces on the camera, so you think something is
you make me
definitely
very
wrong
worried
with me.
a lot. Yeah. Oh, are you okay?
No.
Oh man, welcome back.
Thanks.
Yep, I had a couple of grapes and filled my water. That was.
Did you run on that treadmill while you were?
I didn't. I looked at it in disgust and be like, "I'm never using you,
you dirty piece of trash."
Oh no, it looks.
Now I have to pay to get rid of you.
Yeah, right. No, that thing might be staying. If we move, I think the new owners are getting a treadmill. I don't think I want to move that thing.
Why didn't you just put it in the garage? Is it in the garage?
No, it's down in our main.
Oh yeah, you said it's by the TV.
Yeah, in
that's
our
right.
room.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, that's fine. It'll keep Jack busy.
Yeah,
it's Jack's new parent.
Yeah, we're gonna get treadmill. Jack running on a treadmill right away.
Jack, watch some Sesame Street and just walk.
I could just see his like little legs pumping, sweat dripping, just doing his ABCs.
Running like the Terminator eventually.
Right, yeah. Oh man. Well, we're back. Let's should we jump into game number 2?
Sure.
Awesome.
Why
Let's
not?
So when I first looked into this game, it didn't have a developer or a publisher, and I was very confused. Eventually
the description of the game had like the name at the very end, and that's all that I could find at first.
Right. So it is developed by somebody called Pete. It's Piotr Skalski.
Yeah.
We're looking at a arcade puzzle third-person shooter. Puzzle may be too much.
I wouldn't call it a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter.
You wouldn't
call
it
not really a shooter.
I'm sorry, what?
It's a bullet piloting game.
That sounds like a shooter to me. Released in 2021 on the Switch. We're looking at a game called Bullet Trail. I think the third-person shooter description is perfect.
You don't shoot anything. You do not.
I'm sorry. You hit
A.
Things.
Sorry, you hit A to shoot. You you. All right. So
the point of the game is to shoot the things.
So Bullet Trail, what it does is it tells you to hit A to shoot the bullet. You shoot the bullet with A
from a third person,
and then And then there's
just like Outriders. I don't know what the problem is.
There's one or more red people in front of you that you need to run that bullet through. So you are controlling it midair. You don't have any control of speed. You just have control of direction, up, down, left, right. Which the controls for this are not like inverted flight controls like they should be. So like down isn't up and up isn't down. It's like up is up, down is down, and that really threw me off for some reason.
Inverted.
The only kinds of games that I will play inverted are anything that has to do with flight.
Bullet guiding games. That's it.
Yeah, but like just guiding bullets into these red people over and over for 50 levels.
50 levels.
I'm sorry, 51, and some of them are gold.
Okay.
So yeah, you're just a dude in a street. You shoot people. You guide a bullet into your targets. Sometimes the red people have green people held hostage, and you have to hit the red people and not the green people, because green people are good and red people are bad. I think, all right, so when I was playing this, I played through the whole game, played through all 51 levels. I don't know what it is about this game in particular that kind of bugged me in this way, but like I think it's kind of crappy that just about everything that you're shooting are people and not like inanimate objects, when you're just like, all you're doing is like trick shots, really.
Yep.
And it could be anything, but it's always a person.
Or a barrel, like an exploding barrel to blow up the person.
To blow up a person. Yeah. It's always people, which seems wild to me for some reason.
It's got this super colorful, but
I kind of like the art. Like it's kind of like sketchy. Like it's all 3D, but like the art has like this sketchy quality to it. And they have like a paper filter over everything.
And there is there is like this blood splatter effect every time you.
There is, which also just does not.
There's just a bunch of pieces that just don't fit together, right? Like, yeah, it kind of is a little off-putting. I mean, the most interesting thing that I think I found, which I mean, is interesting. The animation when you win the level. You guys,
that animation's great.
Yeah, he like spins opposite of how you would spin, though. It's like you should go one way, but he's like he somehow
and it never shows its
physics.
face. It just like brings a medal down over it. It says like you've completed the level. Also,
this kid, the person shooting it, he looks like he's like a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah, There's a lot of things about this that are just like on the surface concerning.
Do not like, yeah.
But like I like the concept of like being able to like guide your bullet, and like that's the whole game, is to hit all the targets with your magic bullet. But like the only things that stop the bullet are if you complete your target, or if you complete hitting all of your targets, if you hit one of the green people who's not a target, or if you hit the ground. But you can like run that bullet into any other object that's in the world. Trash bins. I guess there are windmills that they use as obstacles, but anything else is just like your bullet just keeps going, and you can keep controlling it wherever you want.
Did you notice any issues with the hit detection where like okay, because I saw like in the YouTube video I saw like the dude missing to the point like where there was significant gaps between the bullet and the character, and
you could be like 3 inches away from a character and still kill them.
The hitboxes seem to be a little off. Very forgiving game.
Yeah. And it kind of going into the development of this game, I don't know much about it. I know we don't really need to dive into it yet, but this developer, Piotr, has been releasing games like nonstop since November.
Yeah.
Like he has like
we're gonna definitely
20 games or something on the Switch, and they all just seem to be things that he just built in a week or something, it seems, and put them up on the eShop. Sometimes in batches, sometimes not.
A couple of his games, I think there were 3 days where we had 2 games released on the same day.
Yeah. So Fun fact about this game, it does not have a title screen. It just boots up to that first level. Yep. And when you finish, so there's like 3 or 4 levels as you're playing that the game goes into like a bonus mode, and it's like here's like 20 gold men. Try to hit as many as possible. And so like you're trying to weave your bullet back and forth to hit all of them. Doesn't matter how many you hit because it doesn't really care. Just as long as your bullet doesn't hit the ground. It doesn't score you at all. So I don't know what those bonus rounds are for. What the objective is for them. But there's like 3 or 4 of them sprinkled throughout the game. Like I said, there's 51 levels, and when you complete the 51st level, which is a bonus level, it just loops back around to level 1. This game is very bare bones.
Yes.
It's functional, but I don't know how this like passed any sort of certification. There's no way to like pause it. There's no menus. There's like a restart button. That's about it. After you complete a level, it takes the recording of your actions and like plays it in close to real time, because like all the action is in slow-mo as you're guiding the bullet, but in like the completion replay, it plays everything in a faster motion, so you can kind of see what you ended up doing. I found levels where dudes are T-posing a lot. There's one where like a guy was standing on a pedestal before I shot, and then when I shot, he was like way back with some other characters that I was supposed to be shooting. So like some levels weren't put together how they should have been. I don't know. So it seems like someone wanted to get some money by throwing a game on the eShop.
I have a real problem with this game.
Yeah.
And you know what? I wouldn't have a problem with this game if it wasn't for what we talked about a second ago. The fact that he has 19 games on the eShop.
Yeah.
Ranging from 99 cents to $4.99. First game released on October 28th, 2020. His last game was released 4 days ago, April 2nd, 2021. And like I said, some of those games were released on the same day. This
Bullet Trail was January 11th of this year.
Yeah, right. So like within from October 28th to literally 4 days ago, 19 games released by the same guy.
Just impressive that he could get that all past certification.
Well, that's what I'm wondering though. Like how
what's
is this
going on?
How is this happening? Because this game is not. You said you ran into issues. I mean, with it. But we've got 18 other games that he made in probably as much time. Very different games.
They're not, I can't find them on any other like platform. It doesn't seem like these are ported from anything. I checked like itch.io. I checked Steam. I checked the Apple App Store.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing there. I haven't checked Android. I don't have any Android devices. But it doesn't seem like they're anywhere else. When I search for his name, it comes up on like Nintendo Life as a developer.
That's where I found my list of games, because otherwise it was just there's not a lot available. But like this is the Nintendo eShop is a mess of. I mean, there's games that get thrown on there and get lost to time. Good games that deserve more time a day. I'm not saying that these games are popping up top of the store page or anything like that, but this shouldn't be. These are browser games.
Yeah.
Build a website or have a website. Host your games on a browser, something like that. I can't even think of any browser-based websites. Like Congregate, I don't know.
Sure.
Newgrounds, yes. That's what these games should be. The fact that
I would say, just as a preface for this, and I'm sure I'm slightly speaking for you as well. Like this isn't on Piotr about like that these got through. Like good on you for making stuff and making different things and putting them up. Like that's cool that you're getting stuff shipped. This is more of the state of the eShop or Steam or online game marketplaces in general, that are supposed to have some sort of a filter.
Agreed. This is not on Peter. Although part of it I'd put on Peter, because I would like to see him take his time, make something.
Right.
Put he's got some skills, he's got some chops, he knows what he's doing. Maybe unless you're, I'm not saying go to AAA, spend 6-7 years on one game. Like don't do that. But I don't know the benefit of unless you know something that everybody else doesn't know, throwing that many games up.
I mean, just money. People will buy it. I bought it on. This was the most interesting looking game, I think, of the 3 that we covered this week, just from like screenshots. Like, oh, that art looks cool. Oh, it's like a bullet guiding game. Like that seems cool. Oh, it's only $3. I'll buy that and play it for the podcast. Like, there was enough there where I bought into it. Like, I didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I played it to completion for this. I probably would have dropped it after like 10 levels, just like knowing like what I had seen, and like the scenarios that they're presenting isn't very varied. Like, sometimes you're shooting 3 dudes and like guiding your bullet to those 3 dudes. And then there's one character that's actually different, where you have to shoot different parts of his body. And it gives you like multiple shots during that same level. Every other level is basically the same.
Interesting. I don't
in slightly different placements for characters. So
okay. I don't think it's going to work. I was just curious to see if I could I'm not super familiar with the VG Charts website, but I was just going to throw in Bullet Trail and see. Again, I don't think it's going to show anything, but I just have to think that there can't be that much money sitting out there for these kind of games released at this cadence. You did it for the podcast. You had a reason to do it. It came up on this list. The game exists. 503 service unavailable. That's not the first time that's happened with VG Charts. Maybe
for sure.
So,
but also, like, there are some red flags with like this developer just like spam posting games.
Yeah.
Over the course of like 6-7 months. Like, I wonder if he's working with someone at Nintendo, if like there's a liaison that's like, yeah, keep releasing stuff. You're doing fine with it. Or like if there's anybody talking with them about like putting in things like a start screen or control instructions or like, yeah, I was shocked when it just like booted up to that first level.
Yeah, I mean, just
I was like, what?
No build up,
there's nothing. Even the even like the game picture on like the Switch like start menu, it's just like a screenshot from the game.
Yeah, I think that's the same screenshot that I put in the Discord. So if you guys want to see specifically what we're talking about, go to this Discord for this episode. Let me just I've got to update that actually. But yeah, there it is. It's just got thick white font over the opening screenshot.
Bullet Trail. That's it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, and since like there's not much of a history with the developer, I couldn't find much on Piotr. At least nothing that was concrete on if it was the same person who was making these or not.
Yeah, I had that same problem.
Yeah, nothing that pointed towards them creating this. So don't really have anything on the man himself. Piotr Skalski is the name.
I mean, at one point, I'm just seeing here. At one point, he had 6 games released in just under a month.
November 9th, 2020, Slash Ninja. November 13th, 2020, Super Punch. November 19th, 2020, Party Games 15 and 1. Let me make sure that's him.
Yeah.
This is straight from the eShop. Fire and Water on November 19th, 2020, which is the same day as Party Games 15 and 1. Ragdoll Fighter on the 26th of November. December 28th, Puzzle Plowing a Field. Sure. January 11th, same as this game. Knight with Tactics. Knight with Tactics. Maze with Cube. Bullet Trail. Wacky Run. Those are all January 11th. Curve Racer on January 27th. Blow Up Monsters on February 4th. Magical Maze on February 4th. Escape Route, February 15th. Burger Master, February 16th. Quick turnaround on that one. Bakery Master, February 23rd. Animal Bomber, March 6th. Dirt Bike Retro on March 17th. And Castle Heroes on April 2nd. All from one person.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Just a factory, this man. I don't know. I think
either only one person is like publishing these and like farming this out from other people, or I don't know. Maybe it's a teacher and these are all his student projects. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it could be any number. I think it speaks to the lack of quality of what can show up on that eShop. There should be people that. This should be like an illustrious thing, getting your game on a Switch. It should be that's okay. Maybe that's not the right terminology, but there should be something. You should not be able to submit a game that doesn't have a pause button or it doesn't have a menu.
The only way I could pause was going to the Switch menu or turning off the screen on the Switch. Those are the only ways.
I have to wonder what the guidelines are for Nintendo to allow.
I think it's like, does it not hard crash the system in any way? And
Bitcoin,
can you
right?
complete it? Like, yeah, are you not mining Bitcoin? Well, hey, Cooking Mama, did we talk about that?
We did, yeah.
It came back. It came out on PS4.
I don't know. I don't know what's come up with it since, but I know we talked about it.
It came out on PS4 like a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
and actually like sold out like physical copies and stuff.
All right, people are trying to get their Bitcoin fix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much else to talk about with this game. I just, if anything, this game should be it should not this game, but this entire saga, I guess, these games that have come out. I wish somebody would take a closer look. I wish somebody would. I don't know. Maybe it's us. I don't know. I don't know what that entails. That seems like a lot of work. Maybe Jason Schreier should get on this. Jason Schreier, I know you listen to the show.
Jeff Grubb,
yes.
Where you at? Imran Khan, what's up?
Yeah, we need you guys to check out this Peter Skalski. We need you to figure out the relationship with Nintendo. We need some concrete details here.
Or Peter, if you're listening. So we might take you on this. I don't know if we find your Twitter handle. Usually we try to tag publishers or developers for games that we cover. If there's anything that you want to bring to our attention, let us know.
Yeah,
we're not accusing you of anything.
No, like I said,
like
John
I said,
said,
like you're pumping out stuff. Like it's not your fault that Nintendo's putting it up. Wow, that comes off even worse than I mean it to.
Peter, you may not be a fan of us after this show, but I need answers.
I don't know. I don't have any ill will. I just want to know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that
it's like how
the only thing that drives me nuts about this is the fact that I've spent time trying to go through the eShop and trying to find those hidden gems, and I don't know. Maybe some of these games are just fantastic and we're sleeping on them, but I can't imagine games getting turned around at this rate not having basic functionality on the Nintendo Switch.
I mean, also just going back to like Whittle Tree Adventures, like that was barely like it was functional, but like it was like maybe the step above this, where like putting like a start screen on it and putting like credits in.
That was a game that we, I remember that one specifically because that was a game, even though it was not well received, the developers were like, people hated this game. So we took what we could and we built upon something and we tried to make something better. And we
They
saw
did
the
make
Metacritic
a sequel and stuff.
Yeah, Metacritic for World Tree 2, I think it was close to like upper 70s or something. So they implemented, they improved. They took that feedback based on their first game, took their time, made a better game. This does not feel like that at all. This feels like putting games on the eShop for the sake of putting games on the eShop.
Yeah. I'd like to know, like, if these are games that have just been built for a while. I mean, they would have to be if they're putting these up like 3 to 5 at a time. Or like, what's the story behind this? Like, are these all just things that you've worked on over a couple of years? You're like, I might as well just put them up because I can.
Yeah.
I'm just curious about it. But yeah, I wouldn't really recommend playing through Bullet Trail. I mean, $3 is maybe the right price for curiosity.
Yeah,
it's under $5. I think that's kind of like, I'll drop $3. Sure, why not?
And that's what he's banking on.
I dropped less on our next game.
So did I, on sale. Actually. Yeah.
It's like $1.50. It was great. You could buy Bullet Trail on the Nintendo Switch eShop for $2.99. Not on sale. That's regular price.
That's and like I said, all the games that have been released by Pewter, 99 cents is the cheapest, $4.99 is the most expensive. So you're not breaking the bank if you decide
go take a look.
Try all 19 of them.
Yeah.
All right, John.
Yeah.
Let's move on to game number 3.
Last game.
That's the last one.
So I've been told. This is a sequel to, I guess, were they web browser games?
I guess I just saw them released on Windows.
I think they were just like super independent games. This is the third or fourth one in that series. The developer Niffless, his games, there's an apostrophe in there, or Niffless, is the developer of this. Publisher is Ripstone. This is Knytt Underground. We drew the PlayStation Vita version of this, but as you know, as we talked about earlier, that's gonna be harder to get on the PlayStation Vita very quickly. So if you do want to play it on there, if you want to play with controller, you might want to get that pretty soon. The Steam version of this, I was not able to use a controller. I had to use my keyboard to control this game. Yeah.
Shoot. All right.
There are no there. I checked in the options. There's no gamepad support. I believe this originally came out on PC and made its console debut on PlayStation consoles. PlayStation 4, I think.
PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita.
3 and Vita. Okay. Like with Vita, it could have been either or.
Yeah.
Knytt Underground specifically is a Metroidvania platformer of sorts. You are exploring a dark underground world where your controls are running left, right, or jumping with the up arrow. I don't know what it is on consoles.
I hope it's X.
You can climb any flat vertical surface, at least any one that I've found. Anything that's at like a slant, you're not able to climb. So you're kind of at the whims of where you can access where you can climb. There are different obstacles in the world, like little generators that will electrify sources of water. There was some laser machine that was creating a 360 degree laser, and you had to like dodge it. I don't know. I didn't make it super far in this game.
Yeah.
It still shows it's flash game indie roots, quite a bit.
Yeah, well, and you had mentioned this is the third or fourth game in the series. So the Knytt series, and it is Knytt. It's Knytt. I had called it Knytt Underground for up until I did my research and heard it pronounced
the other day.
Yeah, I heard it pronounced on a YouTube video as Knytt, and I'm like, no, come on, that's not right. And then I actually found the pronunciation is Knytt. Yeah. So it is the final release of the Knytt series. It began in 2006 with the game Knytt. Released on Windows. There was also Knytt Experiment and Knytt Stories. Boy, I'm going to be really happy when I don't say Knytt anymore. Those were both released in 2007. And then Nano Pack Volume 1, which was a compilation pack, but included arguably the biggest game in that compilation was called Knytt Nano. That was released in 2008. So in Knytt Underground, what you're trying to do is save the dying world by ringing 6 fate bells. You have your main character, who, it's
Me Sprocket.
What's it? What?
Her name is Me Sprocket. M-I Sprocket.
Okay, I didn't know she had a name.
She has what do you think of her Ray,
character art?
It's not great. No. I mean, it looks like a Flash game.
Yeah, it sure does. So she's not a very good looking character.
A lot of it looks like little deviant art characters.
Yeah. So you play as your character. You have 2, I think, fairy companions, and through those companions you have special abilities. One is to turn into a bouncing ball. The other is to, what's the other one? Ball of light or lightning something?
I don't know. So as I was going through, like I did manage to play some of this, and it wasn't a ton. But you come across these like little balls of light. Like there's a red one, there's a blue one, there's a green one. I think there's a white one as well. They all had different abilities. So like you would collect it, and then you would hit. For me, it was the A key. But like the red one would kind of like make you explode and jump up pretty high. I think the blue one just like shot you in a straight line forward, and like turned you into a ball of light. The green one just lets you fly around as a ball of light and like control where you were going. And I believe the white one was actually like a projectile that you could destroy those generators that I was talking about earlier that electrified water. But that was like the only form of interaction that I had found. There are items you can collect. There are characters that you find around the world who will like open doors for you. Or like you'll talk to them and they'll have different things to say to you. Someone says that you owe them money. I'm sure there's something you have to collect for them. I had what was described as like an expensive ruby or emerald or something, and it wasn't something I could give them to pay them back, which I don't know. It seems weird. Like if I owe them money, here's an expensive jewel that should take care of things.
So you're saying I got to go pawn this? Is what
I got to go pawn it. I got to get you straight cash. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It seemed like a little bit like. Did you ever play VVV?
I never did.
Just like this open-ended, and this doesn't seem like super open-ended, but it's like you're going from like room to room to room in like a Metroidvania way. You could open up a map and kind of see where you've been or where you're going. But it didn't really have very much of a specific flow to it that I was kind of seeing, besides like, oh, this door's blocked off, I need to find this item or whatever, or talk to this person to get to the next place. It didn't have like a very distinct style between areas that I was going to. There wasn't like this is the castle, this is the town, this is the sewer.
Yeah.
Everything is all of the environments are silhouetted, like all of the structures that you're standing on. So the floor, the walls, everything is like silhouetted. There is like a background that you can kind of see what the environment is.
Yeah.
But you can't actually see what like the textures of the things that you're traversing on are. Which gives it kind of like a cool style.
So
I don't know.
During my break, we ran up. I ran upstairs, and my wife was playing Hollow Knight.
Yeah,
and in the very few minutes I had up there, we were talking about Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
And why I think I can't get into a game like Hollow Knight, but I love Bloodstained. I love Blasphemous, which we just played. So I think it has a lot to do with aesthetic at this point.
Sure.
Blasphemous had the 16-bit aesthetic. Bloodstained had the kind of the sharp anime looking graphics,
3D castle, like actual Castlevania style to it.
Yeah, that looked really good. Hollow Knight, something about the cartooniness and stuff like that didn't do it for me. But then you also touched on with Knytt here that dark foreground, bright background,
right?
But still being kind of unfamiliar with your immediate surroundings because of how dark things are. It's pretty to look at in the background. I think for that reason, I don't know if I could get into this one as well. I think the aesthetics have to fit right for Metroidvania.
It's really like a sense of place, right? Like I can do this aesthetic in like Limbo or in Inside. Like it's a very similar, like everything's super dark, like your character's shrouded. In this one, your character's not shrouded, but like a lot of the environment around you is shrouded as well. But in those games, you're kind of traveling in a straight line. Like you're going basically right. Like there's not a lot of exploration up and down. I feel like you need a real sense of place. Like you're playing a Castlevania, like this is the clock tower, this is the library, this is this specific place, to jog your memory about where you are and where you're trying to get to, or if there's something that you're trying to figure out in this specific area. You feel like you're contained in one zone while you're solving a puzzle or like facing a boss or finding specific items. With this, it's just like everything looks like it's like jagged walls and different like slopes and like non-distinct architecture. There's not a lot. I'm maybe 15-20 minutes into it, so I don't know if that changes, but from the get-go, it doesn't seem like there's much going on with different places. Like you don't have a great sense of place. It kind of like flips you in and it's like, oh, this is your sister and you're like mute and you don't remember things, but your character's telling you that you remember things. It's I don't know. It like the story's a little bit confusing or like kind of contradicts itself pretty quickly.
So there's three main chapters that you can tackle, I think, in any order, because the opening, one of the opening scenes, you get to kind of, it says right on there like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and
right,
choose which way you go, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I found myself being more interested in Metroidvanias as of late, just because of featured two that I've really enjoyed on my channel over the last year. But
you should play Symphony. Have you played
Symphony? I have not played Symphony of the Night in a long time. And this the last time I did play it would have been before I was really interested in Metroidvania. So I do think it's on. I was actually going to play the
holds up.
Is Rondo of Blood any good? Because there's the 2-pack.
Rondo of Blood's going to be kind of like that. It's going to be more like classic Castlevania.
Okay.
Might be okay.
I'm thinking about it. I haven't committed to that yet. But I had high hopes for this. Now you telling me that on Steam you can't play it without a controller.
Yeah,
but it does a lot to shoot those hopes down.
Yeah.
I do not want to play this with just a keyboard.
No, I think you should probably play it on like PS4 or PS3 or Vita.
PS.
Good luck.
I got a little.
Oh no, it's on Wii U as well, which you also don't have. You could borrow mine.
Yeah, someday.
One of these days.
I don't know. I think as high as I was on it, I think it's still something. I think I want to give it a shot. I want to kind of understand it because it's also very early. This was the biggest game that Niflus had made in terms of world and side quests and stuff like that. But it's still, I think, it's still a product of its time. And I don't know. I don't know how well it'll hold up all the way through. So still, I want to give it a shot, but I guess I'm I went on a weird roller coaster when researching this game, because immediately I was like, ooh, this might be the one that I wanna really get into. And then I started looking at some screenshots, and I'm like, boy, that main character does not look good. Saw
looks
some
like
of
web comic-y.
Yeah, the
character art.
The way the world was presented, like kind of you mentioned the dark foreground, the bright background. But some of the bright background did look really good, but
it's very colorful, and it like some of that background stuff is pretty pleasing to the eye. But like, I don't know, it's really that sense of place for me. I remember this
animation.
game.
I was gonna say too.
It's
super scampery legs, like just I don't know. It's a dumb thing, but it's just one of those things. Like it's just not good to look at.
There is a little something with like the motion and the climbing, and like it's not bad. Like it could probably be tuned up a bit, and this game is 9 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Or I guess only 8-ish, 8.5. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have been learned in that time. And I think that's a thing that this developer's done over time too. Like this game specifically has taken a lot of elements from their previous games and rolled it into this. Like the stuff that you were talking about earlier with like the ball mechanic comes from a game called Within a Deep Forest. That's a previous game from Niffless. And all the platforming stuff has been kind of rolled in from previous Knytt games as well. And they've brought other things forward to other games that they've made in recent years. I guess Chris, do you want to? I mean, we've talked about some of the gameplay. I don't know of how much it changes as you go.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like from what I saw from gameplay, it just looked like you use some of those skills to get yourselves out of slightly more difficult situations. You fall from one scene or one screen into the next screen, and you have to activate something to grab a ball, to swing yourself onto a ledge to make sure you don't fall to your death. I think I saw 1,800 individual scenes in the game.
Yeah, so this is saying the main world is divided into 47 rooms across by 29 rooms down for at least 1,363 rooms.
Okay.
However, there are many secret areas that exist off the in-game map.
Okay.
Leading to over 1,800 total locations. Now, I will say that I did get to a point where you had to start moving through the black area of the screen to get to different places, which is a little bit rough with a game where like everything that is like something you could climb or something you can't get to is that black area.
Right.
I mean, it's nice to have like secret areas, but like it's kind of hard to determine what is a secret area.
Yeah,
or not.
When you feel you have to like climb and touch every part of the outside of the barrier of one of those rooms, it's okay. But I mean, in terms of gameplay and things like that, like I said, I was really high on it in the beginning.
Yeah,
saw some parts of it, came back down. I don't know. Maybe I'm starting to come back up again.
I would want to see more.
Yeah.
Of what I played. I want to find a better control setup. Like there are different keyboard options. So I didn't try any of the other ones to see if I could use like AS or WAS and D for my controls.
Oh yeah.
Instead of like just the arrow keys. But then it has you using like tab, but it doesn't say tab as like the key. Like it'll show like the keyboard key. So like if it's enter, it'll be like the enter button. If it's tab, it shows like the two arrows going like opposite directions. But it doesn't say tab. So like it took me a few seconds to actually look at my keyboard. Like, what is the key that they want me to hit? Like, is it backspace? Is it like page up and down? Like what is? And then like I looked at tab. I'm like, oh, weird. I never like thought of that icon before.
Do you have that icon on your keyboard?
I do. Okay. Yeah, it says it under tab.
Oh, so mine doesn't say tab. Mine is just that icon. Now, that being said, even though you just said that, I still would have had no idea what key that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
weird.
Yeah.
So,
the reason I think I'm back on like an upswing with this game though is finding out like what this developer Nicholas Nygren, Niffless, has done in the indie game scene since this. He has, I mean, he does a lot of different things within the creative space. He's created the game. Now, I've never played this, but I've heard of it. A game called Urnog, URNOG.
That's his newest game,
yes.
Correct? Yes.
Yeah. So one that he's created. He also did game design for Affordable Space Adventures. He did the score and the sound design for Cave Story Plus, which is kind of like, that's kind of the granddaddy of those old Metroidvanias. Well, that's not true. Obviously, Castlevania, Symphony of the Night, that stuff. But in terms of like the Metroidvanias that came out of like the indie scene. And then he did some play testing for some recent games that got a lot of love. But he participated as a play tester. Like, I think that his opinion and stuff like that within the indie space is that valuable. But he did play testing for Baba Is You and What the Golf.
Hey, those are good games.
Yeah, those are
really good games. Yeah, and this was a game like Knytt Underground specifically was a game that I remember when it was coming out to PlayStation. Like, I remember that coming to Vita and like people kind of like hyping it up a bit. It's probably because of his this guy's reputation as like a smaller indie developer, and like bringing this game to a console, and bringing it to a bigger platform. People were excited about it. So,
and it shows too. The Vita version is at a 79 on Metacritic. The user score is actually surprisingly low compared to, usually we see things the other way around with these kind of games, but the user score is down to a 6.8. It's got a fair open critic rating, top critic average of 74, with 44% of critics recommending. So very average to good game. As it relates to those types of ratings and stuff. And like John said at the beginning, if this is a game you want to check out, I don't know what it is right now in PlayStation 3 or Vita store.
No way to check online.
Yeah.
No way to check on that website.
But if you want to get it on Steam, and despite knowing there's no controller support, normally it's $6.99, but it's 80% off for another week. So it's $1.40. Might be worth just adding to your library. But yeah, it's a game that if I do play it, I want to play it with controller. Give it a fair shake, but also play it with
I'm sure there's a way that you can make it work with a controller. I just don't know. I didn't take the time to figure it out. If you want to play this on Wii U, on the Wii U eShop, it is $6.99.
Okay. So there you go.
And I'm sure that's probably around the price what it is on Vita and PlayStation 3.
John, anything else on Knytt Underground?
No, not really. I think it's cool that, this was made by mostly one person. He did do some collaboration with other people to get this out. And I guess we should probably say his name again. His name is Nicholas Nygren. Also goes by Niflis as his company name, and
not Nicholas, which is another indie developer responsible for, like, I don't know if they're responsible for, maybe they're a publisher.
They're a publisher because they published Cave Story and Binding of Isaac, and so has some questionable things that have happened in the last couple of years.
True.
So with IP and controlling certain brands and stuff, it's weird stuff. Specifically with Cave Story, I think is one of the bigger problems. But yeah, Niflis, on the other hand, go. I'd say check out his games.
Yeah. John.
Yeah.
Let's rank these bad boys.
Rank it.
It is my turn.
Rank it all night.
Isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know.
Sure.
Awesome.
It is. It is now. Happy Easter.
We take the ranking order very seriously.
Happy WrestleMania week, Chris.
Is it WrestleMania week? I'm very happy for you.
It is. It's happening Saturday and Sunday.
Ooh, you got a big.
It's like wrestling every day this week. Nice. I'm gonna be just worn out.
Okay, so for my number 3 game of the week, I think this should surprise nobody. It's gonna be K-1, the Arena Fighters.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, apparently it surprised John.
It did.
I don't want to play a fighting game. I don't want to play
sure.
a fighting game from the PlayStation 1 that a lot of people didn't care for because
Sure.
the fighting part isn't very good. I don't know what K-1 is. I know it's mixed martial arts. Maybe it's actually, I guess it's just kickboxing. It's not
kickboxing
mixed martial
specifically.
Arts. Yeah. I didn't know any of the fighters. I don't know. I mean, again, the one thing that I think it has going for it, without having done any research to make sure that this is a true statement, it feels like one of the first fighting games that took a more realistic approach to combat, to fighting. And while it didn't pay off maybe so well mechanically, kudos to trying to create something that was more one-to-one with a real-life sport.
I mean, it's more realistic than Mondu's Fight Pit, aka Tongue of the Fat Man.
That is true. Bring Mondu to K-1.
I think Mondu would eat them. He would eat everyone. He's got a big mouth in his stomach. Why would you do that?
No, I think all of our faith should go into Mr. Hug.
Oh, which actually, now that we bring up old fighting games, I forgot that I tried. I didn't successfully do it yet, but there's a new version of the original Clay Fighter that someone made a tournament edition for, and released it. You can only play it on like Super Nintendo emulators, but I'm trying to get my fight stick working on that so I can play Clay Fighter tournament edition. I'm very excited to see how that plays. But
John, what do you got for your number 3?
Yeah, my number 3 is going to be at this point, even though I played all of it, Bullet Trail is going to be my number 3 this week. Another thing I forgot to mention about Knytt Underground, it also started without going to a start screen, which really creeped me out after playing Bullet Trail. I'm like, oh, we have 2 of these this week?
Sounds like, wait, are there start screens in games?
But yeah, it's like, what? Do they not have titles? What is going on? I just want to just put me at a splash screen. Let me enter the game. But Knytt actually has you move your character to another screen and that shows the title screen. So they at least have the title in the game. Anyways, number 3 is Bullet Trail. I should say after playing it that I just wouldn't recommend people playing it that far. Like if you want to see how the controls work, that's fine. But you're not getting a lot of depth in there. There's very little with the gameplay that's interesting. Yeah, it's just not that fun. I don't really have much more to say about it than I already have.
The only good thing about it for you is maybe the art.
Yeah, the art's interesting, and I kind of like the idea of controlling a bullet around or like a projectile. But that's about it.
What was that? What's that movie where you curve the bullet? What was that?
Wanted.
That's what you got to curve the bullet. God,
yeah.
that's stupid.
Also a comic book that it's based on.
Oh, did not know that.
Yeah. Let's go read Wanted. Maybe, I don't know.
All right.
Chris, number 2. I'm sure I know what this is.
My number 2 is Bullet Trail. Yeah.
Were
you expecting Bullet Trail to be my number 3?
I did. Okay. Yeah, after we talked about it.
Yeah.
I thought maybe the fighting game would make it into your top 2.
Yeah.
But no. Top 60%.
It's I mean, if anything, it helps paint the picture of just how much I can't get into fighting games. So
yeah, sure.
Because Bullet Trail is not a good game. This is not a good game. There's 51 levels. I made it through 16 in a 10-minute Let's Play that I watched. And
you played it?
No, I didn't. No,
you bought it?
I watched somebody play. It was 10-minute gameplay. It made it to 16. So what? That game took you 45 minutes, 50 minutes?
About. Yeah, maybe less.
Top to
bottom? I
don't know.
I'm really good.
Right.
I'm really good at it.
That was the thing too. When I was watching the gameplay, it looked like just the most boring thing because the bullet was super slow. Did you have to do any levels more than once?
Yeah, because I would hit the ground because I forgot that up
down
was up and down was actually down, or if I was going like left or right, it would like veer towards the ground or something.
Okay, if you could have kept that straight, and not to the with the actual levels or obstacles have caused you any grief to have to do more than one attempt. Okay.
No. I never hit like one of those windmills.
I feel like I even saw repeat levels through the first 16 levels.
I accidentally went through a barrel once instead of blowing it up. So
perfect.
Yeah.
So this is Bullet Trail is a bad video game. It's a hard tie between Bullet Trail and K-1, and the only reason,
so they're both 3 is what you're saying.
It's basically two threes this week. The only thing Bullet Trail has going for it, and I think John kind of hit on it too, is like the concept of steering a bullet and turning that into kind of a puzzle game mechanic is cool. Which again just brings me back to Peter. Take your time with some of these games. Flesh out these ideas.
Flesh it out.
Make something.
Let it breathe.
Yeah.
Maybe you can make something that's worth like $10.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's. I think looking at the other games too, it's like there's stuff there. It's just
you could make like a really cool like sniper game out of this instead of like it's the same character shooting these same red dudes or any maybe levels that aren't necessarily people in every level. I don't know.
Put it in a fairgrounds. There you go. Make it into
put in a story it's a psychic shooter, and it can like you can control the path of the bullet, and you're killing aliens.
Yeah,
and call it Outriders.
Spend more than a week on your game. Like, no, I don't know how long he's been. Again, we don't have the full details. Nothing bad to say about Piotr. A lot of bad things to say about the eShop allowing it on there. But Bullet Trail is my 2.99 for the week.
Got it.
Yeah,
cool. My number 2 is going to be K-1. The Arena Fighters. I mean, it's a pretty average looking PS1 fighting game. I don't have any, like you were saying, I'm not a huge fan of kickboxing, although I think I would probably be more of a fan of kickboxing than MMA in general, just because of striking. But it doesn't look like this game's doing anything exceptional or flashy. It's not doing things like Ready to Rumble Boxing had Afro Thunder. That's a cool character. Like lots of larger than life characters. I know the whole thing for this was a licensed game about a realistic sport and like bringing in actual kickboxers. But I feel like in that era, that doesn't sell well. You're not really doing realism. You might be doing more realistic characters, but you're not doing more realistic actions. Right. You weren't getting to like actual realism until Xbox, like the 2000s.
Yeah.
Like that next generation of consoles, you were getting closer. So
yeah, I mean, I would still think of the characters like flailing open-fisted slap attack and just be like, that's completely that broke it. Whatever you were going for, it's gone now.
It looks like slightly like Tekken, but not as embellished.
Yeah.
I mean, I would still want to like try it to see how it feels and see how characters might play differently, because it doesn't really look like people play differently. Just like watching videos of it. I wasn't getting a sense of who each character was and what their gimmick was, or if there was a gimmick for each character. So, yeah. Anyways, K-1, the Arena Fighters, is my number 2 this week. Chris, bring it home.
And my first one,
number 1.
Yeah, my number 1 is not K-1, but Knytt. Knytt Underground.
See what you did there.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a long time.
All day you've been excited.
Delivery could have been better, but you know what? I'll
it
be
was
able
perfect
to sleep tonight.
Chris is perfect.
Chris is perfect. There you go.
You did it.
Knytt Underground. Again, like the roller coaster that I've mentioned. The one thing that I think maybe I didn't spend as much time on, but I think is important. You're thinking back to 2012. So Castlevania Symphony of the Night, you know, that was an old 1997. 97? Yeah, because it was up against Final Fantasy VII for Game of the Year that year.
Sure.
And
it was better.
I swear. No, actually, you know what? I can concede that argument.
That could actually be a discussion.
Yeah.
I'm not actually going to make that argument. I really like Symphony of the Night. I really like Final Fantasy VII. Those aren't really contenders in my mind for like, those are clashing for a game of the year.
Right.
I will play both of those any day.
Absolutely.
So. Anyways.
But I'm trying to think, John, can you think, and I'm doing this off the top of my head. I wish I would have spent a little bit of time looking into it, but the term Metroidvania, that wasn't something that was coined back when Symphony of the Night, because it was a Castlevania game.
No, this was more early 2000s, like oneup.com era. I think Jeremy Parrish might have coined the Metroidvania term. I'm not sure.
I can't think of anything.
Or and again, Shane Bettenhausen.
I wasn't
one of those guys.
Big into games like this when Knytt. I remember Knytt Underground. Yeah. I remember the cover art. I remember thinking that it looked alluring, and then I looked at the gameplay at the time. I was like, no.
It's those colors. It's those purples and greens that they have.
But again, I don't know historically what it means to we talk about, the gameplay. We talk about the development. And one of the things that I always like to mention is what it means to the industry. It's industry significance. This, to me, at least in my history, feels like one of the first attempts at a Metroidvania as I know it today. As I know that term today, and I don't know, there could have been stuff before that I'm just not thinking of. But that's where a lot of the interest came from. Cause once I put the two together, that Knytt Underground is that platforming 2D game that, it can be coined as a Metroidvania. And now I'm like, wait, I like Metroidvanias. I remember this game back then. This is probably the first game I remember back then. I think it holds a little more interest for me in that regard.
Sure.
Like I said, there's some things that show its age, some development tactics, whether it's the flash art style, that kind of stuff. But it also then went on to, with Niffless going on to assist in some of these very big independent games. The legacy, I think, is also very, very worth it. So I could absolutely hate the game. I don't know. I think that the odds are,
but it does have that significance to it, where it's like, like I know this game's place in the history.
Yeah. For the record, not having
played it yet,
I feel strongly that I probably wouldn't hate it. I'd probably hate it on just the keyboard. I would need to play it with a controller, but I don't think I would hate the game. I think this has the best chance of being a game that I could probably get into.
Right. Yeah.
That's why it's my number one. John. Yeah. What's your number one?
Yeah, having played 2/3 of these games, this is the game that I would want to actually try more of and get a little bit deeper and get a more comfortable control style, because controlling my keyboard with my right hand, it's just very odd for me these days. Directions happen with the left hand these days. But yeah, like while you were talking before, I was looking over different screenshots from Knytt Underground, and there are different locations that you do go to. So that is on me that I didn't really recognize that before. So I would kind of want to see like where those other places are and why you're going there. But I would want to enjoy it on a better control scheme than what I was using. I like the colors this game's using. I'm with you with the art, at least the character art. I could leave it. I would like something a little bit more refined than what looks like a webtoon of some sort, or a deviant art character. And I mean, the story itself too, from the beginning, like I said, it was a little bit confusing. I don't know who or why these characters are where they are. But maybe playing it a little bit more, I would be able to figure that out. But,
yeah, all I know about it is post-apocalyptic subterranean world. Not sure what happened. Not sure why it's there.
Sure.
So
they get jokey with it right away, though. So it's like they get kind of cutesy with it right away.
I heard it's like it's kind of rough too in terms of some of the content. Like there's some things in there that are like. So again, if that's true, I'm even more intrigued. I want to know.
And this could be like, oh, this is kind of like a corpse party situation where it is a little bit indie. It has its rough edges, but like the content is worth seeing it through.
Yeah.
It could very well be how it is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but it's by far my number one this week.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm glad that I played some of it. I might play some more soon.
There you go.
But, Knytt Underground is my number one. It's both of our number ones this week. Chris, now that we've ranked them, let's thank them.
Let's do it.
Let's thank our patrons.
Skipping steps.
Who make this all possible. Who make this is the first week with Chris's new microphone.
Yes, thank you.
The money from Patreon went directly into getting Chris a new microphone after he blew it out wearing a woman's robe.
Yes, it was
in character.
It was a faux silk blue.
See, that's your mistake. Is you want faux silk.
Yeah, well, it was also $6 as opposed to $75.
It blew out your whole mic.
It did, yeah.
Your whole
that thing
situation.
That thing got shredded.
Got toasted.
Where is everybody? There you are. I found you, patrons. You were trying to
They're
hide,
listening.
But
They're
I found
listening
you
right now, Chris.
Okay. Let's thank the patrons. We have Mecha Sprite at our platinum tier.
Thanks, Mecha.
Thank you. We have Xgen at our gold tier. We have Cassidy,
Thanks, Xgen.
Catherine, the Lone Wolf, Tim, and Tori at our $7 silver tier. And then we have Ozzy, Brandon, Jason, John, and John Jensen at our bronze tiers.
Hey, thanks.
So thank you guys so much. Like I said, you guys came. I mean, we weren't sure what to do with the money that we had built up. The mic failed. Here's my new podcast.
Perfect place.
Mark.
Yeah. A lot of it's being held for either emergencies or once COVID kind of lifts and we can be a little bit more creative with our setups.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what we've got going on with that right now. And again, we'll continue to let you know on when we spend it on something. You're going to know because you guys are as much involved in this as we are. So
and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so. We'll talk about before we do it. If the mic hadn't gone out that day and we decided to get a mic, we'd let you know before we did it.
Yeah,
but that was kind of like, oh God, we got to buy a mic right now. But yeah, no. If you guys could take some time to go ahead and rate the podcast at Apple Podcasts,
please do.
That would be fantastic. Leave a review. It would mean the world to us. If you want to reach out to us and be a part of the podcast, there's plenty of ways to do so. There's sending us an email at pgshowinbox@gmail.com. You can reach out to our Twitter, PG_show. You can also reach out to us individually. I'm CW719 and John is
John_Carson on Twitter.
There you go. You can also reach out to us on our Discord. We have a procedurally generated Discord dedicated to all of the episodes we've done to this point. We have individual episodes 1 through 21 are featured on there. Well, 21 will be featured on there once this episode goes live. We've got a general community section for people to just shoot the breeze in. And then you can also reach out and leave us comments on YouTube. Also, like, follow, subscribe, all that. Is that the right thing? Is that the right 3? Like, follow.
Yeah, smash that like button, subscribe, ring that bell.
Smash it.
Follow us on the Twitters. And if you came here because you somehow stumbled upon our Ice Age episode last week, welcome. And
yes,
thanks for sticking around.
Yes.
It's very nice of you.
And the big
very
one.
Very nice of you.
I forgot to mention patreon.com/procedurally generated. You can reach out to us there. And if you really like the show, like I said, consider throwing us a couple bucks every month. I promise we'll do something great with it. And as time goes on, like I said, we have really big plans for what we can do with this show.
Yes.
It's just a matter of getting there now at this point. So that's it, John. I think that's episode 21 in the books.
It is. 22 is going to be quite the episode. We have a lot of research ahead of us, specifically on one game. You know the one, Chris.
It took me a second, then it flashed in. I didn't even have to see the list.
It's the start of a very large franchise. Popularized on the PlayStation 1. We have the DOS version, if that gives you any hints. It probably doesn't, but it's going to be...
Tease. It's a good tease.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one.
All right, kids, do your homework. See if you can figure it out before next week's show.
Yeah, start cross-referencing what games were both on PlayStation 1 and DOS. And still exists today as a franchise.
Mm-hmm. All right. You guys have a fantastic week. We will be back same time next week.
All right. See you next week, guys.
Bye.